Most of the major powers in the Warhammer 40k universe are ancient. The Imperium of Man, the Eldari, they've all had millennia to build up their forces and wage wars of survival and conquest. But on the eastern fringes of the galaxy, a new power is gaining strength. A young, technologically advanced civilization known as the Tau has been slowly adding worlds to its empire as it brings its philosophy of the greater good, or Tau Va, to other intelligent species, either peacefully or through efficient and brutal force. The Tau Empire, in egalitarian oligarchy, is led by beings known as ethereals. This empire is structured around 5 distinct social castes, each with its own crucial role in Tau society. But what is the greater good philosophy? And how do these castes harmoniously contribute to the growth of their enigmatic empire? What sets the Tau apart from the rest? Welcome back to Starhammer. As with any historical journey, it's best to start at the beginning. Approximately 6,000 years ago, the Tau were first discovered by the Imperium. At that time, the Tau were an intelligent but primitive species experiencing their equivalent of a Stone Age. But the exact date when a formalized Tau Empire came into being remains a mystery to Imperial scholars. At some point, the mysterious ethereals made themselves known and began uniting the warring tribes of the Tau. The first recorded instance of this was during a period called Montau. The city of Fiotan was under siege by the rival tribes of the plains. Peace talks had been attempted, but all ended with failure. For 5 years, the defenders held off the plains tribes before the perils of siege warfare made themselves known. Disease, desertion, starvation all began to take their toll, and it was in the darkest of hours that 2 ethereals appeared. One entered Fiotan, and the other entered the plains tribes encampment. Both Tau exuded a mysterious energy that nobody could challenge. Within a few hours, city gates were opened, and both sides were prepared to come to a lasting peace. These messiahs explained the importance of lasting cooperation among all Tau, a philosophy they called the greater good. These tenets were agreed upon by the warring parties, and afterwards, ethereals emerged all across the planet to spread the same message. This unprecedented cooperation led to rapid societal and scientific advancements, allowing the Tau to achieve spacefaring status soon after. But the Tau were not content to simply unite their own world. There were a series of what they called sphere expansions. The Tau slowly brought more worlds under their influence, becoming what is known as septs. Several species have joined the Tau through these expansions, such as Kroot, Vespid, Nikasar, and even some humans. It's important to note, though, that Tau expansion tends to differ from something like the Great Crusade. The Tau conquer worlds as the Imperium does, but often worlds are assimilated peacefully after greatly considering the better standard of living provided by the Tau and their advanced technology. The current Tau Empire consists of about 20 fully developed septs and around 100 colonized worlds, though the exact number is not yet known. But let's return to the greater good, the core of Tau society and the justification for its alarmingly rapid expansion. The greater good teaches that every self-aware being is equal, a stark contrast to the Imperium and the other races of the galaxy. The greater good stresses the importance of putting aside things such as racial, religious, and political differences in favor of working together towards a common good. The common good being the betterment of society as a whole. The castes that make up Tau society are the glue that holds it all together. There are 5, of which we have fire, earth, water, air, and ethereal castes. Fire caste is the main military force of the Tau. Members of this caste trace their lineage back to the plains of the Tau homeworld, where their ancestors survived as hunters and warriors. As such, the Tau in this caste are in peak physical condition, typically quite muscular. These soldiers stand around the same height as an average human. These soldiers receive very little training in close quarters combat, instead becoming accomplished sharpshooters as they see melee combat as barbaric. Tau technology reflects this, as their ranged pulse, plasma, and railguns are used with deadly efficiency and can punch through even the hardiest of Imperial heavy units. These combat units are often supported by member species auxiliaries such as Kroot, who they rely on for specialist roles such as melee combatants. The air caste forms the core of Tau protection of merchant fleets. In their primitive days, these Tau had membranes between their limbs that allowed them to glide on air currents. Now, the members of this caste spend most of their time in zero or limited gravity, and will sometimes outright refuse or limit their time spent planetside. Due to all their time spent in extended low gravity, their skeletal systems have atrophied to the point that broken bones from minor incidents have become way too common for them to actually bother landing on a planet. Aircast pilots are highly skilled but rely primarily on their advanced craft and its capabilities, but they generally lack the practical combat experience that Imperial pilots bring to the table. The Earth caste is where we will find our engineers, artisans, laborers, things like that. Essentially, this is the caste that made the Tau the technological powerhouse that they are today. Not a lot to say on these guys. This one's pretty straightforward. The water caste is where you'll find your diplomats and merchants. These guys are responsible for maintaining communication and cooperation, not just with the worlds the Tau bring into their fold, but also among the different castes as well. They're the mediators, and the few times they've been sent out to an imperial world, they've met a lot of success in convincing them to abandon the dogmatic ways of the Imperium in favor of a better standard of living under the Tau banner. And quite frankly, who can blame them? The Imperium is the bloodiest and most brutal regime imaginable, dedicated to the worship of a god emperor where your worth is only how much you can give until you keel over. With the Tau at least, these citizens now have a society that ensures their basic needs are always met and that their labor actually matters in the grand scheme of things. If you ask me, that's a pretty easy choice. Finally, we've got the top dogs, the ethereal caste. These are the Tau political and religious leaders, easily distinguishable by this diamond-shaped ridge of bone on their foreheads that is exclusive to their kind. Most Tau would never refuse a request given by an ethereal, and they're sometimes seen on the battlefield as leaders and observers, though the amount of influence that they have on the battlefield remains debatable. The big kicker with ethereals is how they manage to basically come out of nowhere and unite all these warring tribes with vastly different cultures and beliefs into a singular social and military force. Theories range from psychic control to something more biological such as pheromones, but regardless, we're pretty sure it's got something to do with those weird headbone things. All of this culminates into the Tau being arguably the better faction to be part of in the Warhammer universe. The Tau are a bastion of relative stability under apparently wise and consistent leadership, and possess technology that surpasses that of the Imperium in many ways. They offer a better standard of living and a little more meaning to the lives of those under their banner. But despite all that they've got going for them, the Tau expansion rate is dramatically slow due to their inability to use warp travel. The Tau have such little psychic ability that they practically don't even show up in the warp like a human or an Eldari would. Their inability to access the Immaterium for speedy travel means that their fleets move at sublight speeds, leading to eventual but extremely slow progress. Time will tell how long the Tau Empire sticks around and how much their influence can spread. With the Imperium dealing with much greater threats on more battlefronts such as the Tyranids, the Tau have been allowed to spread themselves farther than is comfortable for the Imperium. Will the might of the Emperor be brought down on the Tau, or will they be able to conduct more spheres of expansion relatively unchecked? That's all for this one, y'all. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I personally love the aesthetic of Tau and their models on the tabletop, and I find their lore pretty intriguing, especially when it comes to the ethereals and their method of influence that they have over their people. But anyway, drop a like if you like it, subscribe if you really liked it. Remember to check out my social links and check my community tab to keep up to date with all the latest videos and my other shenanigans. I'll see you all in the next one. Doodles.